How to Train Your Useless Dragon by Mika Crispy on AO3. Chapter 27. How to Stop a War. Izuku is soaring through the skies. Kachan's weight on his back is the same as nothing as he flaps his powerful wings, piercing through the clouds. He's going as fast as he can without using his quirk. If he did, his friends wouldn't be able to keep up. Behind him, the dragon knows Mina is flying with Kirishima, Hitoshi is bringing Denki, and Ochako has a terrified Sero on her back. All of them are doing their best to not think about the consequences of what they're about to do, because the consequences of not doing it could be even worse. Izuku will not stand idly and watch villains destroy the village that welcomed him with warmth and love since the second he put a paw there. He'll not see people he cares so deeply about, like Kachan's parents, get hurt, or worse, while fighting to protect the weak. For the dragon, this is not only about helping Kachan stand his ground as a warrior. This is what Izuku has always dreamt of doing. The reason why he wanted so hard to be able to control his powers, to be able to protect the ones he loved. Deku, we should be close. Get lower. Katsuki's voice sounded near Izuku's ear, and the dragon does as instructed. The dragon has never been so deep into the countryside. He heard that the continent is vast. Older Dragon said it was bigger than 1,000 isles combined, but it's very different to see the immensity of it on his own. It's like the sea, but made out of fields, forests, and mountains. It's a beautiful sight, and Izuku wishes he could explore these lands in better circumstances. But right now, it's impossible to miss the thick smoke in the distance, rising to the sky. Shigaraki's army really is burning down the almost empty small villages on his way to Masafu. Izuku can't believe someone can be so mean to attack places when only the elderly and those who cannot travel were left behind. They need to stop Shigaraki's army and get rid of the fire. With renewed conviction, Izuku flaps his wings even faster to reach their enemies. The reptile's eyes scan the fields, under him looking for Mitsuki's army. He needs to find them and not let them get hurt. Finally, Izuku sees Shigaraki's army. They must have at least 300 people. The fighters look angry and bloodthirsty, the kind of description Izuku used to hear of humans in general before meeting Kachan. They look dirty and bare, rusty weapons. Their combined screams makes Izuku's blood rush cold in his veins. They're truly terrifying. Mitsuki's army, for now, is just around 30 people and their horses. They look stronger and more put together, with better weapons and armor, but having to face enemies in 10 to 1s doesn't make their odds look so good. The cavalry groups towards the huge army with unparalleled bravery, knowing fully well that this wasn't going to be an easy battle. Izuku sees the armies colliding in the distance. It's a fierce fight. Each Viking's horse is surrounded by several of Shigaraki's soldiers, but they keep going. A barn that must be full of grain burns down close by, and Mitsuki's cavalry probably tends to save the food. Winter approaches quickly, and they can't afford to lose so much. By the scream coming from Katsuki, the dragon is not the only one to see when Mitsuki's bright, blonde head falls off of the horse, and the woman is forced to fight the bloodthirsty merchants on her own. It's entirely by instinct that Izuku lights up his quirk and closes the distance to the battle. The dragon isn't thinking anymore, so he doesn't hear the gasps and terrified screams from the cloud as he approaches them. Izuku's too focused on Mitsuki's struggle against 6 other soldiers. She's much more skilled than them, but it's a very unfair fight. Izuku sees as a woman pushes her enemies away from her and fails to notice that a 7th soldier decided to join the brawl. The man raises his rusty axe, ready to deal a killing blow on the back of her neck, and Izuku's body just moves on its own. He can feel his quirk lighting up, his movements speeding, and all he wants to do is get the villain away from Kachan's mom. So the dragon headbutts the shoulder, and the man flies away with great speed. Hell yeah! Katsuki yells from the back, and starts brandishing his sword against the enemies who are still close enough. Izuku doesn't take time to celebrate. With a swift sweep of his tail, he knocks down the other 3 enemies. He's trying to keep tabs on Mitsuki and every one of their allies, but the battle is hectic. There's too many people around, and it's hard for Izuku to really understand what's going on. Smells, noises, and images are quickly overwhelming the dragon's senses. Izuku stands stunned in the middle of it all without knowing where to even start. There's smoke everywhere, and the enraged and terrified screams are making him dizzy. Deku on our right! Katsuki yells, break through Izuku's foggy mind. He turns to the right just in time to headbutt an enemy that was coming to pierce him with his sword. Left and on our back! Katsuki calls out every enemy that approaches, helping to keep Izuku grounded and focused. In no time at all, they're working like a well-oiled machine and taking down dozens of soldiers. Die, you suckers! Bakugou says as Izuku's powerful tail sends another enemy flying away. The dragon can hear the cocky smile on Kachan's face, and he can't help but get a little cocky too. The villains start to run away, but they're not letting them get away that easily. Katsuki yells a few more commands, and Izuku's running after them until he's running through them, making them fly over his head. They come to a halt in front of Mitsuki. The woman has a stiff posture and an unreadable expression on her face. Izuku feels dread while waiting for her reaction, terrified of what the woman can say, if she can even recognize him as the boy who has been living in her home. Katsuki, however, does not have such reservations. Have you seen this, old hag? I have a fucking dragon, and his mouth is full of teeth. Bakugou brags before pulling Izuku away. Let's go, Deku, let's kill these fuckers! To his left, Izuku can see Mina and Ochako flapping their enormous wings, putting out the fire in the barn. They seem to have it covered, and the flames are quickly dying under the great winds that they are producing. Hitoshi and Denki are to the right, protecting a small wooden hut that probably housing the elderly and sick in the village. The purple dragon is using its body to make sure no villains get close to it. Deku, let's find Shigaraki! Katsuki yells, pressing his heel on Izuku to urge him to fly. There's no use in winning the battle if they let Shigaraki escape. The villain may garner another army and try to make this quest all over again. On air, it isn't hard to find the leader of the attack. Shigaraki is the only one in his army with a horse, and right now, he's using this resource to gallop away, leaving his men behind. Izuku is disgusted by him. People like Shigaraki are the ones who give humans such bad reputation. If there was no Shigarakis in the world, maybe dragons and humans could be friends. Maybe Izuku and Kachan would have had the chance to grow up together, share all kinds of stories and experiences. Maybe they wouldn't have to be afraid of the consequences of doing the thing right now. And that's so important. Izuku is sure he's doing the right thing right now, but he doesn't know if everyone will agree with him. The horse is fast, but Izuku is much, much faster. They reach Shigaraki in seconds, and Izuku bites the villain's collar and lifts him by his clothes from the horse. Shigaraki thrashes, trying to get Izuku to let go of him, but the dragon doesn't get bothered at all. He turns around and flies back to deliver the enemy leader to their leader, Mitsuki, praying that's enough to buy her favor. Let go of me, you filthy dragon scum! Shigaraki yells, trying to get away from Izuku's powerful hold, and Katsuki hits him on the top of the head with the blunt side of a sword. Shut up, asshole! You don't talk to Deku like that! Izuku drops Shigaraki on the floor, like a bag of potatoes in front of Mitsuki and Masaru's feet. The rest of the army is being bombarded by the Vikings' cavalry, and the other 3 dragons and their respective riders are standing by and watching. Mitsuki's reaction with bated breath. He decides to sit down too, and Katsuki slips out of his back and stands by his side, also watching, his mother with more solemn than he has ever seen from the young Viking before. Mitsuki wastes no time before she starts speaking. Shigaraki Tomura, your crimes against our people end here. You'll be taken for judgment and will answer for your acts in front of the Council of Elders. I'll kill you all, Tomura threatens, but with a nod of Mitsuki's head, he's taken away by shoulders. And you two, Mitsuki turns to Izuku and Bakugou with a severe expression. You can make yourself look like a human, right? Izuku nods at her. Well then, get to it. In a blink of an eye, Izuku shifts into his human form under the shock gaze of dozens of humans. Gasps and ohs are heard across the field, but Mitsuki's eyes remain impassive. The dragon can't help but fidget under the intensity of her scrutiny. So, you two broke every single rule I ever made. My own son brought a dragon under my roof. Let him walk amongst our people, our children. Got involved in some kind of sorcery, and as if that wasn't enough, broke my direct order to stay behind and came to battle, bringing 3 other dragons. Izuku lowers his head, squeezes his eyes shut, and trembles in fear. Even Kachan's hand is shaking a little, but the young Viking keeps standing tall against the onslaught of accusations. Yes, I fucking did, Katsuki says, with fake courage. His words are bold, but his voice breaks. Your rules are dumb. Dragons aren't even evil. They're just some big, stupid lizards. Can you speak for all the dragons, brat? Can you attest that none of them is a risk? Mitsuki's voice cut deep into Izuku because he still doesn't know what is the situation back in the archipelago. Can you speak for all the shitty humans? If none of them were risk, we wouldn't be in this goddamn battle to begin with. Katsuki barks back. The silence stretches, and Izuku keeps his eyes shut, too scared to face the woman he has been deceiving for so long. She's right. They lied to her and put her village at risk. Even if it was never their intention, the fact that Todoroki decided he liked pies was the only reason the village wasn't burned down. Should be enough indication that Kachan and Izuku really took things way too far. All they wanted was to know more about each other, be friends, and stay together, but this has put too many people at risk. Izuku. Mitsuki calls for him, and the dragon, tentatively, opens his eyes, ready to close them at any sign of danger. As their eyes finally meet, she continues. I'm not happy that you lied to me, she says sternly, and Izuku almost shuts his eyes again. But I understand why you did it. Thank you for coming to our aid. All of you. She turns to Katsuki. You're right, brat. Unfair laws should be challenged. I wish you would have talked to me before we got into this situation. But I'm glad my old prejudge didn't stop you from making new friends. Deku isn't my friend, Katsuki interrupts her. He's my love. Izuku bewilders, turns to Kachan, and slaps him on the arm. Kachan, not now. If we're doing this shit, we are doing it right. I don't want the old hag flipping her shit when she's invited for shitty hair and Pinky's wedding. Katsuki retorts. You're all too young to be thinking about marriage anyway, brat. Mitsuki barks, annoyed at them, and marches until she's close enough to pull the 2 boys into a hug. You two fought so well. I'm so proud of you. Izuku is so strong. Get off of me, old hag! And what do you mean shitty Deku's strong? I'm the best warrior! You just sat on his back and barked orders, brat! Little Izuku did all the work on his own! Izuku ignored their yelling and just hugged them back as tight as he could, not wanting to be left out of the fun. Masaru joined them as well. When Katsuki finally managed to make his mother release them, Masaru started speaking. "That's pretty nice work of you two did, modifying that saddle," he says, with a warm smile. "It was Kachan. He did everything on his own," Izuku explains, excitedly. "Congratulations, son. Saddles are very challenging to make. That's a good piece of leather work," the man says, patting his son back. "Thanks, old man," Katsuki answers, his ears getting pink in embarrassment. On their way back to the village, the young Viking chatted carefree on the back of the flying dragons. They were all slowly flying closer to the ground, to keep pace with the cavalry on the ground. "It was so cool. We were there like, 'You don't touch the grandpas here,'" Kaminari says, making an angry voice. "You two just sat in front of the door," Kirishima teases. "Mina and I put out a fire." Pinky and Roundface were flapping their wings. "And what did you two idiots do? Yell at the fire?" Katsuki pokes. Zero still looks like he's about to throw up, so I don't think he yelled a lot. Kaminari shrugged. "As if you did anything more than that, bro," the redhead complains. "Of course I did. I directed Deku, told him where to go and who to hit. We're the ones who actually saw battle. You three are still useless," Katsuki argues. The dragons were quiet, not only because they can't talk to the humans in their current form, but because they're having a conversation of their own. "If Shoto and Tenya haven't arrived by the time we return to the village," Ochako starts, but isn't brave enough to finish her thought. "I will go back to the archipelago to talk to the elders," Izuku resolves. "We will go back," Hitoshi interjects. "You're not gonna face them on your own." "Exactly, we're gonna kick their asses," Mina agrees. "No," Izuku's thoughts break through the waves of supportive pledges. "I'm facing them on my own. I don't want any of you involved in it. Izuku, Ochako tries arguing, but the green dragon doesn't give her the chance. "No, Ochako. This is my mess. It's bad enough that Shoto and Tenya had to stay behind facing the consequences of my actions. I'm not going to allow any other friend of mine to get caught up in this." "Izuku, you know the punishment for a treason of this level. You're probably going to get exiled in one of those barren islands. No food, no drinking water, and with the worst kind of dragons around, the other exilees," Hitoshi thinks somberly. "I know. I knew that when I chose to keep seeing Kachan." "Izuku, you're not the only one responsible. I agreed to all of this with you," Mina protests. "You're the strongest dragon of our generation, Mina. I need you to stay back on the village and protect it in case the elders decide that punishing me isn't enough. But no buts! You stay with Kirishima and the others, have a beautiful wedding, and protect the village. I'll convince the elders that this was all my fault, and that I should be the only one punished. I won't hear any debate about this from any of you. Bakugo wouldn't. Kachan is a princess, and he needs to protect his people above everything else. He can't be the first warrior if he lets his village get in real danger." Izuku thinks, even though he lets his pain slip through his thoughts. "Also, I don't want this village to get in danger. I love the people here, and this time I'm gonna be their warrior." The rest of the trip home was done in silence, and with heavy hearts by the dragons on their backs, and the Vikings talked joyfully. Hearing their joy, laughter, only solidified Izuku's results. He can't let anything bad happen to these people, to his friends, to his love. When they got back, the other dragons landed on the city center, but Izuku flew all the way back to Bakugo's house. "We did it, Deku!" Kachan celebrates happily, smile on his face. "We kicked the villain's ass, won the war, and made the old hag accept you all. We're the fucking best." Izuku smiles, watching Kachan's excitement, and hugs the boy. "We did, Kachan. You were great out there in battle," he says fondly. You were good too, nerd. You really did learn all I taught you. Katsuki answers, looking into Izuku's eyes. You're the best teacher. Izuku's smile falters, as the memories of what he has to do flood his brain. I really love you, Kachan. I'm so happy that your mother accepted you're the best warrior in this village. Deku, Katsuki can't seem to find the words, so he decides to go for action. He raises his hand to cup Izuku's face, and very slowly, very softly, brings their lips together in a kiss. It's very sweet and gentle kiss. Their lips just lightly touch, but it's enough to knock their breaths away. Izuku feels like his heart wants to explode, and he can hear the wild thumps coming from Kachan's ribcage. They separate, blushing and embarrassed. The two of them can't even meet each other's eyes after their exciting first kiss. There's nothing that Izuku wants more than to hug Kachan right now and never let go. But you'll have to accept this as a going away gift. I need to check up on Ochako, he says awkwardly. Yeah, sure. I'll just, put the saddle away, Katsuki says, picking it up from the floor. Izuku doesn't say another word. He just turns around and walks away briskly. If he had said something else, Kachan would hear the sob that is threatening to break from his throat. Oh no! War is over! Everything's back to being mighty dandy fine. No, it's not. So, what do we think about that last thing? They finally kiss! We have a kiss! Woo! Kiss! Too bad it was a goodbye kiss. Yeah, I remember when I first read this, I was like, what do you mean? I decided to start this because, hyperfixation on How to Train Your Dragons when I was a little kid and my, inner child is healing, but this? And I thought that was the crackfic. Crackfics are supposed to make me feel happy, fun. They're supposed to be fun, light, goofy. Where the hell did this angst come from? So yeah, look at the angst. Nice angst. We love angst. I really hope you can't hear the screaming children in the background. But yeah, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.